stupid crow, you fucking stupid wolf. And he leaves. And god damn it, Ghost, I love you. You're such a good boy.
Says the motherfucker who was just, oh, where were you, Ghost? Why weren't you here?
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Brotherhood Without Manners, your favorite full spoiler reread podcast of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series, reading A Storm of Swords. As always, I'm your host, Zach. Sitting here next to me, my brother Nate, who's no longer sick.
Yay, I'm back to normal-ish.
Yeah, you were gross.
We're coming down. I'm back.
I was sick as well, but you got the brunt force trauma of it.
Yeah, punched me in the face.
It was gross.
It was awful.
So we apologize for the delay, but that should be made up because our plan is to release an extra episode this week just to give you guys a bone because we missed you. We missed you over the weekend.
Yeah, our bad. But that's life, I suppose.
If you never joined us before, we are a full spoiler reread podcast, if you didn't hear my little intro there. And so we will talk about the story congruently. If you've never read it, there will be spoilers in it for you. And if you'd like that kind of thing, stick around. If you've joined us before, thank you.
We have a planned spoiler this episode.
That's true, Dad.
Oh, man, it's going to be good.
Goddamn, we were just reading and talking about your inductees before the episode, and goddamn, they're good this week.
Good inductees.
Can't wait to get to those. But last episode, we were reading Catelyn 2. Catelyn, Robbie returned.
Your little Rob.
And Catelyn was super anxious about it, wondering what had happened, whether or not he would forgive her for freeing Jaime Lannister. And she met Robb in the Great Hall, where he was praising Edmure and introduced everything was basically hunky-dory, and then the lords and ladies were excused, and it was just them. And this is when
we get
Catelyn's forgiven.
Yeah.
But
an introduction to because she was forgiven publicly.
Yes.
But now the reason she was forgiven publicly was because she can no longer contest the fact that Robb is married.
We meet the Westerling family.
The Queen in the North. Ooh.
Right, yeah. And Cat, of course, immediately realizes what that means. And we titled the episode The Unraveling of the Starks, and that's exactly what it was. Karstark wasn't pleased with Catelyn being forgiven. Catelyn's not pleased that Robb married and lost the phrase. Edmure, we learned, made a blunder, and Robb as well, by not telling Edmure.
The Freys aren't happy because Robb fucked them.
Super pissed.
Yeah, and Edmure fucked the Robb and the Blackfish's plans because he didn't know of their plans.
Right. And it's a shit show. Mm-hmm. And Catelyn is still mourning the loss of Bran and Rickon that is just hanging over her like
But she's forgiven in her son's eyes.
Looming cloud, and her father is still dying.
But we're not reading Catelyn this episode.
We're going back north.
Way up north. Far north. Farther north than her two dead children that aren't actually dead at Winterfell.
Johnny boy.
Jon.
Last we left Jon. Jon was, astonished among the Wildling camp to find how normal they were. And he met the king in the north, which really was the significant bit. We also met there Tormund and the Magnar of Then's Steer, but Mance Rayder as well, and Val
and her
Dalla.
Sister Dalla.
But Mance Rayder proved to be more king than any king Jon had ever met. And
he was a respectable, likable guy.
And his reasonings for doing it were simply for a kiss, he claimed, and being in a place where a kiss isn't something a man would be, not even a kiss, a cloak for him. It was
because it's a cloak because of how metaphorical it is I left the Night's Watch for a cloak.
Yeah.
But it's more than a cloak. It's what the cloak
symbolized.
It's
the freedom. It's to make your own choices, yada, yada, yada. And Jon was very much struck by that and turned his cloak. Mance offered him a place in the Wildlings if he answered him true, and Jon answered a few questions, lying, not telling the truth about how many men there were.
But when asked the real question that Mance needed answered about why he's turning against the Night's Watch, he told him because he's a bastard. What place? Well, he told it in more eloquent ways with the cool little you were at
Mance
at my the Robert's feast, and you saw where was I sitting? I was brooding in the shadows. Meh.
So we open Jon 2 as Jon is seeing a giant for the first time. Not just a giant, but a giant riding a mammoth for the first time. Both of these creatures for the first time. Mounted on mammoths, the giants are riding by 2 by 2, and he just sees that there's fucking hundreds of them. Like,
hundreds.
As many as he's counting. He gets to around 50 when Tormund interrupts him. And Tormund's just basically taking it in.
Right.
We get pulled back. Tormund brought Jon down the column to see these giants.
Yeah,
it was like, you've never seen them, boy? All right, let's go, Crow.
Yeah, and Jon immediately thinks that Old Nan's stories weren't quite accurate.
They were more fantastical, yeah.
These are, they're a little more brutish, longer arms, they're short, no necks, they're...
More bear-like than human.
Not wielding swords like big giant knights, they're just these big people.
Yeah, the tallest standing maybe 14 feet, no higher. Gross, horny, bare feet, squashed faces, and they are covered in hair, and they fucking stink. That or it's the mammoths, but good goddamn do they stink. And Jon thinks, and Tormund blew the horn of winter and woke the giants from the earth. And then Jon just thinks the song doesn't say whether it can put them back or not, because this is fucking finding Atlantis. This is seeing...
So that for him, yes, but that's kind of a fucked way of thinking. The songs never say how we can put them back.
Oh, well, right. No.
They're just a creature, a people that live
on
this
But everything
planet.
He's heard, because this is, obviously, Jon Snow is, I think, one of the main characters that leads sort of the charge of changing your perception on people. He's still applying, as we just saw, Old Nan stories, and they were savage, club-wielding.
They haven't become a people to
right?
Him yet.
Yeah, they're not and Ygritte's song will very much so play into that.
Absolutely,
he doesn't understand why she's crying at the end. There's still hundreds, and she says, "Oh, hundreds! You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Yeah.
These were a people. This is a race of people, not monsters, not." They're not D&D giants. I mean, actually, they are more D&D giants than Tolkien-y type giant. I'm not going to say that because I haven't actually. I'm not a Tolkien fan, so I can't claim that. But
yeah, so
they're not as twisted. They're not fairy tales, and that's what Old Nan was telling was fantastic.
What she knew and had heard,
and so Jon is still thinking of them as that right now, and yeah, that is fucked up to think put them back into the earth, but
yeah, he wants genocide for these people without realizing that it's a not okay thing to be thinking, because he does kind of, I think they're just monster tools that are being wielded by Mance, and not as a.
But that bears the question of is. The Horn of Tormund, is it meant to wake these giants?
Well, it's maybe giants is being taken too literal.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like if these are a race, that's what we're basically being told through Ygritte's song and everything they're saying, and what we're being shown here. Maybe there's some other white giants type thing, like the undead ones will wake from the earth. That's what it seems more to me, because they're here. They've been here. They've never not been here. They don't. So it obviously, to me, sounds more undead.
Unless the Horn of Tormund was more of that's how giants came into existence, was because it was blown. They weren't there before it was blown.
It could be that, but we kind of get it out of context here. And yeah.
So, then we get a big old giant come strutting through, and it's Mag the Mighty. He has a crazy giant name.
Magmar Tundoweg.
Like a Pokemon that's evolved.
Sure, yeah. Well, like 6 of them.
Sure.
But, yeah, and Mag the Mighty, and he asks Tormund if that's their king, and he's like, you can kneel to him if you want. He'd probably like it, but they don't kneel. He's just the oldest. Like,
he's a strong, old fucking giant.
He's a badass.
And so Tormund chats with the dude. He starts, speaking in the old tongue to him, which is fucking cool. And I think it's funny, again, that Jon will be saying how uncivilized these people are. How many languages you speak, motherfucker? Not 2. Bet you that much.
Yeah, they're like shitting on Jon, too.
Yeah, and that's what's funny. Because, he gets him laughing. Jon didn't recognize that it was laughter at first. And he's like, well, what were you guys talking about? And he's like, well, he just asked if you were my sister, all cute.
Yeah, my daughter.
I've never seen a man without a beard like you before.
A pink man, yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's good shit. So Jon they turn back to ride back up the column to where Mance is, and Jon notes that he's decked out in his new sheepskin cloak, though he does keep his Night's Watch one underneath. And he asks Tormund the story of how he got his names, and
specifically hoping he'll get a bit on the Horn of Jorm.
The Hornblower name,
you know, and so maybe he had something to do with that. But instead, Tormund decides to tell him how he fucked a bear.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, Tormund.
And
the story's fucking hilarious, but, I mean, grain of salt and Tormund just
right,
go fucking
exactly.
hand
And
in
even
hand.
Jon says that. He's a big bag of wind.
Yeah.
But I like how quickly their friendship is developing.
Yeah.
Like how they've clearly spent a lot of time. Mance has had him traveling with Tormund, and they've kind of become their own little band of, because that's what he said, is that like we kind of just travel. I stay with them, they stay together, we hang out, and that's just how it goes.
Yeah. I looked it up. I'm being fucking dense. The Horn of Jormund woke the giants originally from
Look at
here.
me go.
Yeah, so you're good on that one.
All right.
And so, yeah, Tormund's Tormund. Jon, Tormund then asks Jon why he spurs Ygritte, basically. She clearly wants Jon, and Jon clearly wants something to do with him. And Jon's like, yeah, she fucking really wants it, because most of his days and nights now are in her company.
Right.
Mance had suggested that Jon ride with Tormund due to Rattleshirt's blatant fucking hatred of him. So the very next day, Ygritte and Longspear Rick came over as well.
I like Longspear Rick so fucking much.
Yeah.
Because I've never paid a lot of attention to him before this reread.
But he's like, fuck Rattleshirt too.
Yo, and he's out singing and like just enjoying his fucking wildling life.
Yeah.
Man.
So yeah, they came over the very same day and basically said, you know, we ride with who we want.
We're with you guys.
We're wildlings.
And it once again hammers into Jon's head that they're free people. They make their own decisions.
So every night, as they made camp, Ygritte would make sure she threw her bed hide right down next to his. And some mornings, Jon even woke with her arm draped over his chest, and had to kind of fight against the morning wood there for those circumstances.
I think that him and almost Martin, to an extent, are making her out, I think in Jon's eyes, to be that
harlot,
that enamored girl, like in the cartoons, that like can't help but stare at the guy. But
I mean, it's that's temptation.
But I think it's their culture. She's a spear wife. Like he took her. Like he's the kind
they're
of.
two consenting adults. He's an adult. She's an adult. I mean, in this culture, and so like, right? Why wouldn't they? And obviously, like, Jon is blushing. Like, he's stealing little glances at her, too.
Right,
it's not...
Right. Like, he's just fighting it as much
he's
as
fighting
he can,
it because of his vow. That's what he even says here, is her draped against him, listening to her breathing is fucking making him hard, and he's doing everything in his power, but he's not waking her. He's not saying, get the fuck off me, get away.
Right.
He starts to use Ghost as a buffer to, like, do that, but even that didn't make Ygritte stop. And yeah, I think it's just, she likes him. And, like,
how adorable is that they're all three cuddling together?
I mean, I love it. But until Jon straight up tells her, I'm not interested, cut the shit, why would she not pursue it the way she knows to pursue what she wants, which is to just go for it? Fuck yeah, Ygritte. And everyone notices it. And yeah, so Jon used Ghost as a buffer, and that's when we get the first you-know-nothing. And it's noted that Ygritte is a couple feet shorter than Jon, and that her hair is red and said to be kissed by fire. And that this is very rare among the wildlings. Did I lose you in your notes?
Yeah, I think you jumped a bunch of stuff that I had noted down. Or I'm...
Because at first all he saw was her pug nose, her crooked teeth, and eyes that were too far apart. But then slowly he began to notice other things about her.
Oh, no, yeah, I thought we jumped somewhere else.
So,
yeah, we're good.
And basically he thinks, like, damn, if those things that he noticed didn't get him fucking wanting to get going with her.
Yeah, because he does mention, and it's, once again, that privileged life that, like, for the wildlings, she's an attractive girl. Like, she's
if she
super
was in a court, she'd be nothing.
She's plain, and it's like, it's so weird that he can just say that she's clearly, because he says she would just be a small folk. He says that specifically, like, based off of her looks.
Yeah.
So it's him saying that you can't be born ugly if you're a High Lord.
Yeah.
What? Huh?
Yeah. But Jon just thinks that he's a brother of the Night's Watch, and he took a vow, but he can't be telling Tormund that. So Tormund continues on asking if he mislikes Ygritte.
Right.
And Jon's like, I'm too young to wed.
He's like, nobody said anything about fucking marriage. What are you talking about, dude?
And then he's like, well, I don't want to get her with child because it'd be a bastard. Now, Skitskirt, this gets brought up in some of our listener emails, but I also noted it here that this is the same thing with Robb. This is the exact same thing. If you sleep with a girl, you have to marry her. And that is Ned Stark through and through. It's that fatherly honor that he put into them that these two are following to a fucking T. Qhorin knew Jon would likely end up having to sleep with a spear wife.
Right.
He don't give a fuck about Jon putting his dick into a Wildling
That's
woman.
exactly what he meant.
That is like, the least of the vows that Jon can break.
That's the one that the guys that are at the wall right now are currently breaking.
That's what Qhorin was trying to tell him by having him kill him. You've done the hard bit. You've killed a brother. You just go for it. Now. You're in it.
Good.
That's why we did this, is to get you this deep. And Jon is still fighting it. And we learned that it's coming back to bite him in the ass real quick, because this is night and day when we get to Mance. Night and fucking day from their first meeting.
It's cool as
It's awesome
fuck.
and it's intense as shit, but it's because of this Ned Stark honor. And to a T, both Robb and Jon are fucking following it. And damn it, Ned Stark. You're still getting us.
And that's this is where Jon will even mention, that the people, like, it's no wonder the people in the South think of them as these savage, uncivilized, crazy, wildlings. That's why they're called wildlings.
Before that, because he says, Tormund asks him, he's like, well, you said you don't want to get her with a bastard, but, like, are bastards weaker than other children? Are they sickly? You're a bastard. And Jon's like, yeah, no. And Tormund says, if Ygritte doesn't want the child, she'll seek out a woods woman, drink some moon tea, and be done with it. You don't come into it once she's with child, once the seed is placed. And so, skirt. It's 2020. Yet a fucking wildling understands that the men don't come into the decision once it's decided that a woman is... Tormund gets this.
He's a wildling in Westeros.
Okay, all right.
A savage.
And
uncivilized.
Tormund understands that a woman's body is her body, but, he's uncivilized. And then he just says, yeah, all right, do as you will, but you should lose your member, otherwise you're going to lose it. It shrinks and shrinks and shrinks until it falls off. And then this is when Jon thinks that the free folk have no laws, no honor, not even simple decency. They breed like fucking animals. They're wild. They're untamed. And that's a very Ned Stark thought process as well. And it's interesting. But he does know, he ends that thought with, he is growing fond of Tormund, though. Which,
despite all his
he's a big old bag of air, but it's harmless. Like, he's not boasting.
He's boasting about himself doing things that people are like, what the?
Yeah, fucking a bear.
Shut up, Tormund.
Yeah, all right, Tormund. Okay. So, despite that, there are savages among them.
Yeah, there's some really hardcore fuckers.
The ones that the tales are about. And that's just what it is the few... These savage tales get told, and it just spreads to encompass an entire people.
Yeah, and he names a few of them, but...
Rattleshirt.
Yeah, and...
Weeper, Harma Dogshead, who hated dogs and killed one every fortnight for her fresh banner, so she could stick it on there and have it dripping. Fuck this. I hate Harma. Yeah.
Yeah, so these are all the people that the Night's Watch know. Mm-hmm. All the ones that are the vicious, savage, terrifying people.
There's Styr, the Magnar of Thenns, and Varamir Sixskins riding his savage white snow bear. And where Varamir went, 3 wolves and a shadow cat always came following.
So you remember that planned spoiler? Julian This guy gets his own prologue chapter.
It's pretty dope.
Fucking what?
Yeah, Varamir is a very interesting character. A very interesting foil to Jon as far as Jon's warging ability and what Varamir can and will and is willing to do. Because we see that he is pretty savage in what he does with
and
his...
it gives us a bit more insight into what
Second
happens with
life.
with Oral, the eagle
Right.
that we'll be meeting again here
I mean,
shortly.
that's basically, I believe, what Martin is trying to do here with Orwell.
Right.
Is say, there's a lot more than just the Stark kids doing it.
Right.
And here's another one. But this one is fucking powerful.
Yeah, look at him.
He's
look
riding
at him.
a bear.
He's got shadow cats
He's
following
got
him.
3 wolves and a shadow cat.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is
like-
fucking 5 animals he's controlling at once. Like,
Or befriended to the point where they trust each other
right,
enough.
where
that
they're not attacking him, not attacking each other, not attacking people. Right.
Like, yeah.
He's got some semblance of control.
It's like Ghost. He's got
Right.
that similar kind of a
And
bond.
so, yeah, it's Varamir's a very interesting one. And then he gets a lot into the Second Life, which is what happens when a warg dies, and he discusses that quite frequently, which leads to a lot of theories about a certain Jon Snow character
who has not resurrected yet.
as far as the books.
And so who knows what happened to his dead body.
Jon was in Varamir's presence only once, but that was more than enough. Just the sight of the man had made Jon bristle, just as Ghost did as well.
So that had nothing to do with him just being intimidated.
Warg
right?
recognize Warg?
I
Warg
think,
recognize Warg?
I don't think it's necessarily his,
It is for Ghost.
Spidey signal. I think it's more of that, like, because he's capable of reaching out and touching other presences, they feel that.
Right. There's an aura around
And
Varamir.
so,
of-
like-
clearly.
And so it touches, maybe even Varamir
'Cause
was trying to make
Jon
contact.
gets it from the eagle. He sees the hate in the eyes. It's,
Right.
It's more individualized there, but I'm sure there's just this little aura of absolute malevolence now
Right.
around this eagle because of Orell and how he went in. And that's what Orell is in, is his second life. Slowly, he's going to lose himself to this eagle. His body's dead. His consciousness is in this bird. And so right now, that consciousness is fixated on killing Jon. And eventually, through Varamir, we learn he will lose himself to the eagle. He'll lose the man. And that's exactly what Orell's situation is right now. And the fact that Martin's putting this stuff in now is just fucking amazingly awesome.
Which also goes to show that Bran will not be dying and warging into summer because he'll never walk again. But he will fly.
So, there were men even fiercer and queerer yet than Varamir, though. And he goes through just some of the weirder fucking clans, the ones that are cannibals, the ones that have vicious seals pulling their wagons, the ones that have walked on ice so long their feet are literally black leather that can't feel anything.
Ugh.
He would guess that half the host had never once glimpsed the wall. They live so far north and isolated, which is just such an interesting, like, the Seven Kingdoms don't mean fucking shit to these people.
Well, and that's what I was thinking here, because he brings that kind of stuff up, that they're not technically going to wage war against the kingdom. They're trying to save themselves and get free. You guys are waging war against them.
They were fine.
Them.
They're fine up here. Like,
there's fucking White Walkers coming.
It's basically the wall is just this big antagonistic fuck you. And so, like, the wildlings that are closer are obviously gonna fucking engage it because they're free folk. Who the fuck are you to tell us where we can and can't go? The ones far in the north don't give a shit. They're using their fucking seal sleds and their crazy black feet that can walk on whatever. Like, these people have never seen the wall. They don't give a shit about the Night's Watch,
and
the Lannisters, the Starks. Like, and to have that infusion coming in, as we know, through the wall, not all of them, not this size of the host, but a good majority make it through. And even majority is a lot, but some of them make it through. And just this infusion of that, these people that have never once glimpsed society like this,
right,
is such an interesting
and then
thing to remember.
To bring it full circle back into the chapter, Jon turns his attention to Mance, the man who brought all these people together somehow.
Yeah.
Like, of all the things to be able to do, these people that are these savages to an extent. They are very tribal and old-fashioned, and, savage is a harsh word there. Clearly they're not savages.
Some of them are. Some of them are feasting on human flesh. That's pretty fucking savage.
And Mance Rayder talked them into fucking
Jon says, using sweet words, song, and the edge of his sword, he hammered 100 different daggers into one great spear. And this is where, incorrectly, Jon thinks, aimed at the heart of the Seven Kingdoms.
Right.
It's not. They're fleeing to hide behind the wall.
Give a fuck about he does not give a fuck about King's Landing.
Yeah, no, he's not going to take the throne.
He does not want to.
They want to hide behind the wall.
Right. He doesn't want to deal with politics. He wants to live his fucking life.
And Jon notes, though he has no crown, no scepter, no gems, no jewels, it's clear that Mance is king in more than just name. Mance cares about his people. Mance is leading his people for a reason, because he wants to protect these people and save them.
Leading his people.
And, Jon had learned, he thinks, on his main missive here from Corin.
Nothing is what he feels like.
Yeah, and he thinks he's learned nothing about what the fuck it was they were looking for in the Frostfangs. And since meeting him, Jon had scarcely even seen Mance.
Yeah.
He thinks that he will kill him if he must, but it's a thought that gives Jon no joy.
Yeah.
There'd be no honor in it, Ned Stark again, and it would mean his own death, which is the afterthought for Jon.
But he does think that it will save his home, Winterfell.
He thinks of all the people and Winterfell is still alive.
All the people that he's going to save.
So sad.
Even though we know that Bran and Rickon aren't dead, the idea of him thinking that they're there and safe.
Yeah, he doesn't know everyone else is.
Right.
Because he lists Bran and Rickon, but then it's Luwin and Hullen
and Mikken and Hullen, all these that are absolutely, they're dead. No, they're fucking dead.
Yeah.
And so, just that
Jon's
blow.
so isolated, and that's, I think, a really important and good reminder from Martin of just, Jon is still stuck here as far as the timeline in the Seven Kingdoms. That's all he knows up to is Robb is left to go declare war, and Bran and Rickon are chilling at Winterfell right now, and so much has happened.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Excusey. So, this is when Jon begins. Wait, hold on. I lost myself.
I just put that it was to uphold the Stark honor is why he'd be willing to kill Mance, but
if he has to slay a man he admires and almost likes to spare the ones he loves, Bran, Rickon, Winterfell, the likes of Harmer the Doghead and Rattleshirt, he absolutely will. It's worth it to prevent savages, because it's not Mance he's thinking. It's not Mance he wants to prevent.
He likes him.
It's
he respects
Rattleshirt,
him.
It's the cannibals.
He's worried about them reaching his home.
Right. And I believe is slightly justified, as much as Jon is coming from a privileged point of view here. It's that fear of protecting your family from the boogeyman, and what other fucking boogeymen are there than these giants riding mammoths and these crazy cannibals,
seal-wielding, fucking black-footed, fucking... Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy.
But the host moves slow, but somewhere close ahead, Jon knows is the Fist of the First Men, and he just hopes that the other scouts, Jarman, Buckwell, all the others that Mormont would have sent out have reached and reported back of this group moving.
Right, and so he also knows that Mormont's coming soon.
He won't
He's
run.
going to hit him.
Yeah.
And we know that wasn't their plan was to be hitting them from the sides, picking them off. They would have been at this point. They're too close.
Oh, yeah.
Where they would have already been attacked quite a bit from the Night's Watch if something wasn't amiss.
Yeah, Jon thinks 300 men could never hope to kill 100,000, of course. But they only need to slay one. Or 100 times their number, not 100,000, sorry. But they only need to slay one man, and that's Mance. If they could cut the head off the snake, he's the thing holding them all together. And
Mormont is going to know exactly how to decimate these fuckers, because Jon's kind of just scanning around
quick. He thinks of how undisciplined the train is.
Yeah,
because there's a few scattered good fighters, Mance at the center.
And no mounted people at all.
Barely any mounted, so they're just going to cut through like porridge, and they just keep kind of weaving in and out of them. Eventually, hopefully, Mance would give chase, and it would be a mess.
So at this point, Ghost takes off. He leaves to go get some food. kill some stuff, probably.
Yep. Ygritte begins trotting up alongside Jon, and we get another little description, and I just noted I thought was important, that her weapon of choice is a weirwood bow. And again, she reminds him of Arya.
Yeah, so I also liked the little thing that he said, Ghost leaves his side, but he always comes back.
Yeah.
Just like the girl. And then she comes trotting up and hollering at him.
And, yeah, she hollers, and then she asks him if he knows the last of the giants. And she's like, I don't have the deep voice for it, but begins to sing anyway. Tormund joins, Longspear Rick joins, and eventually the whole fucking war band is singing and stomping and clomping and
banging shields.
It's
and fucking
awesome.
Dude, it was such a cool fucking thing to read.
I love that song, and it's fucking awesome. And by the end, Ygritte is crying, and Jon, in his ignorance, asks why he's seen hundreds of them. And she gives another, nothing Jon Snow. Oh, hundreds.
Right, and as we said before, this is a fucking race. They're
That's
down to
yeah.
a couple hundred of them, you fucking idiot.
But then she shrieks out, Jon! Because an eagle comes in.
Orell hits him, fucking pecks out up above his eye, just missing his eye.
Up his eye.
Knocks him off his horse. And next thing he knows, she's standing over him with a dragon bone knife, fucking fending off the eagle, and Tormund is bellowing in rage.
Yeah, he is.
I love how quick Tormund has just grown attached to Jon.
Kind of all of them.
The whole, I said, that's why I love Longspear Rick.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking, I love this group.
Tormund's bellowing, and Rattleshirt rides up, and he says he's come for Jon, and Tormund draws his fucking sword and says, then come and take him, but I'm gonna fucking boil the shit out of your bones, motherfucker. And he's like, Mance wants him, bro. And
I said that. You weren't listening. I said Mance. Dude.
And Tormund's like, all right, Jon, if Mance wants you, you'd best go. Jon's freaking out. He thinks he's blind, but Ygritte's like, nah, you missed your eye. Relax.
Yeah, so he goes to find his horse quick.
He wonders, because the bird goes and lands on Rattleshirts, and he wonders if the bird can hate, because there's such a malevolence in those golden eyes. And he thinks that he had killed Orell, but some part of the man remained in the bird. And that's, again, the second life that we learn about in the prologue of A Dance with Dragons. Yeah. From Boromir Sixskins himself, no doubt. Which is just so interesting that it's this. We get basically sort of the resolution here with Orell. Like, he's a fucked up eagle attacking Jon. And then we get the introduction of a more powerful warg than either Jon or Orell in Varamir, who is going to explain the second life, but it's happening here.
And he also notably points out that it is not okay to warg into Hodor. Into people.
It's super frowned upon to, his mentor, because he's been fucking tutored, taught him that it's very frowned upon to, like, jump into people. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Fucking it.
Heavy shit, man.
It's just so cool that it's all coming up in this one, and the way it blossoms again toward the end of A Dance with Dragons, and even in the beginning.
So he goes off to find his horse, really just using that as an excuse to hope that Ghost will come to his side before he heads out.
Yeah, what the fuck, Ghost? Like,
Ghost was out hunting and shit, man. Like, how is he supposed to know that Orell in the fucking... He can't just know everything, dude. Don't be hating on my boy.
I'm not hating. I'm just saying, like,
he gets hungry. He's a hungry boy.
Right, but he left our boy, and there's a very angry, and he knows of Orell and the fucking eagle, because Ghost has an issue with the eagle.
He does it every day. Why should today have been different? Because Orell's a cunt.
Because Ghost is fucking pure magic, and he knows everything.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you bitch at me because Garrett is cold hands.
So, Jon gets his sword a little more accessible, which I like, and thinks that he needs to get his face seen to, but he wants Mance to take a look at it first and see what the fucking eagle did. So when he returns, Ygritte is mounted, and she's like, I'm coming as well. A free woman rides where she wants. Suck my dick. And they set off. And through the swirling snows, and then they crash through the ice-crusted Milkwater. And on the other side, the snow seemed to fall faster, the wind colder, and night was coming. They're approaching the Fist of the First Men.
Should they head back north?
Yes, they're heading down to catch.
And they know it. Mance knows
or
it.
At least catching like a group of them.
Well, and that's what's super cool because they know how to track these. They know how these fucking things work.
Yeah, this scene reminded me of the show when Mance investigates a scene of the White Walkers, and he makes the best line of "ever the artists." Like,
yeah.
I mean, we all know that the pattern really didn't amount to anything, but the way Mance is like, he's not surprised by this. He's just like, he's already like,
I don't want to be caught unaware.
Assessing.
Go scout these areas. Like, I mean, not yet. When we get there,
you're right. But so
as they pretty much make pretty decent time and start approaching the fist pretty quickly.
Jon hears no sounds of combat, which is odd because he would have thought they had already engaged.
Because that was his first. Did Mormont already attack and get fucked? But I think it was funny that Jon didn't notice that they're at the fist already. Like how quickly it came up on them, and
he saw it looming up ahead. And
that's true. I guess that's.
Because he noted that through the swirling snows, it's still visible, like kind of looming over.
I just would have thought he would realize that it was likely they would have been. Sorry, I just bonked the fucking mic.
Oh my god!
Shit, I'm killing everything.
Nee.
Oh, sorry. We're back. We're good. We're okay. And
we're back. He does note, however, he looks up and there is a raven at him. Is that Mormont's raven?
Well, isn't his raven white?
Mormont's?
No, I was thinking of something else. I'm dumb. No.
Do you think it's Corn, King, Snow, Kill, Die, Crow?
Potentially, that would make sense. I'd never thought of it. Because when you first mentioned it, I had thought Blood Raven, like that he's being watched.
All right, well, fuck me sideways. I didn't think of that one.
Like that's how he's keeping an eye on.
All right. Well, I mean, I wouldn't
assessing the situation.
I also wouldn't fucking argue
one and the
that
same.
They're the same thing.
Right. So I think there's potential.
But I immediately, because he was thinking like, did Old Bear attack? And then he looks up and sees this fucking crow.
Well, wouldn't the crow be with Mormont right now?
Would it every second of the fucking day? I mean, they're fleeing though.
True.
Like, is Mormont gonna be like,
where's
gotta have my
crow?
bird? No, it probably
I want
flew
my
off.
bird.
I want my bird. We'll get him the bird. He wants his bird. No, like they're fleeing for their lives. Like, I imagine the bird isn't on his fucking shoulder. And
no, you got a point. Yeah. So yeah, definitely has the potential to be.
I just thought that was interesting. Like, is this? I don't know, man. Is this bird like tied to the Night's Watch? Like, is it just keeping an eye on
like
the next
Night's
Lord
Watch
Commander?
Familiar.
Right. Like, is it going from one Lord Commander to the next?
That's cool.
And like keeping an eye on him?
Yeah.
And like in the spirit of the North? I don't fucking know, but I really feel like this crow is either Blood Raven
it
or...
would be cool to hear from... I mean, we won't because Mormont's dead, but it would be cool to hear...
where he got it, where it came from. Yeah, if it was like...
This one specifically.
It was in the Lord Commander's
Why
chambers.
this one?
Right.
Why did you take this
right.
bird?
Did he ask Lewin just for, give me a pet bird?
I want a pet bird.
I want something that I can fucking scream at in my office when it's talking shit.
Or was it there?
Or was it already there? Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's cool. I thought that was notable that, like, it's dead silent. Nothing, no animals are around except this bird.
Snow.
Like, yeah.
That's cool.
And so
the wildlings immediately hit all the dead horses that they come upon.
Yeah, because they circle around to find the easier slope to get up to, and at the at the bottom of the hill they find the dead horse, frozen, entrails spilling out. And at first Jon's like, wolves got him.
Nope.
And then he's like, oh wait, nope. They eat their kill.
I think that was partially the hoping he could pin it on something else.
Yeah. And as they go up, there's more dead horses that are absolutely being swarmed upon by wildlings, taking everything down to the fucking horseshoes.
Yeah, and Rattleshirt, I started noting his name is Rattles because I got tired of fucking
I feel you. I'll do just like RS or LF for Littlefinger.
Yeah, I do that for Littlefinger.
But, Mance is up top, he says.
Yeah, and so he heads up and he sees the spikes there that Mormont had placed. Seeing that there's a horse impaled as if it was trying to get out.
Out, not in. There was no attack.
Yeah.
From, like, mounted cavalry. Everyone was trying to run from the inside.
And so he makes his way towards...
Inside the ring wall, they squeeze through. And inside is more and worse. Jon had never seen snow so pink before.
Basically, he's seeing hundreds of dead bodies. It never actually says it, but the bodies are there, and the blood is everywhere.
And here, some ravens are jumping from horse to horse. None that seem to take particular interest in Jon. I noted that specifically. But Jon wonders where Sam is. If these are our ravens or wild ravens. And what is Sam now, potentially? Sad thought. Sam is, oh boy. Sam's coming up and has one of my favorite chapters. Sobbing.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
I am, but God, the sobbing. Anyway, Jon passes one of Chet's dogs, frozen dead in a half-frozen pool of blood. And they find Mance near a few still standing tents, and he's got a posse with him, Harma, Varamir.
Right, the bad ones. And he immediately asks Jon, what happened to your eye? Fuck's that about?
The look he gives Jon is grim and cold.
Oof.
Like, just how quick.
Yeah, from that.
And Ygritte is like, well, you're more Gorel. And Mance is immediately like, did I ask you? Has he lost his tongue? Maybe he should for lying to me. And it's like, oh, fuck.
Oopsie.
We were bros, Mance. We were bros. And... Ooh, where's my place?
Yeah, I just did the exact same thing. Sorry, people.
Because perhaps he should lose his tongue to spare us more lies.
Because then he asks how many Night's Watch are here? Here. How many did you actually fucking have?
Yeah, because he's like, you want to lose an eye, Jon? Do you actually want to lose that eye? Because if not, you'd best tell me true. How many were here?
And Jon tells him right away. 200 at Castle Black, 100 from the Shadow Tower, 300.
It's a struggle. But he does make.
Oh, right, this isn't the one that he shoots out.
No,
That's when he tells about
he's like, shit, there's no way if I don't tell the truth here, I'm dead. And so he says, there's 300 of us. And Mance says, us?
Them.
300 of them. And Mance says, you should have never lied to me, Jon Snow. Who commanded here? And Jon's like, that's too much. I can't. And so he says, you didn't find a body. And Harma snorts. And Mance does not fucking play.
Mance didn't like this.
The next time you answer me with a question, I will give you to my Lord of Bones. Who led here? And Jon notes here, just a little closer, just one more foot to him, and I can get to him. And his hand starts to move toward Longclaw.
And he just puts the fear of the gods in Jon. One more inch towards that sword, and I will fucking cleave your head off, bitch.
I'm losing my patience with you, Jon Snow. And Jon names Old Bear. Gods forgive me. Because he thinks this is too hard. How do I play the turncloak without becoming one? And then he says the Old Bear. And they ask who holds Castle Black in his stead, and he answers Bowen Marsh.
And that's the one he gave immediately.
Right, yeah, that one's easier. And Mance laughs and says, if that's true, then our war is won, because Marsh knows more about counting swords than wielding them. And Jon's like, he gets a little defensive. He's like, the Old Bear made this place strong and defensive, and he was ready
for me. But he was not ready for what actually came for him.
But when the dead walk, walls and stakes and swords mean nothing. You cannot fight the dead, Jon Snow. And Mance turns to Varamir and tells him to send his wolves out to sniff out whites. He does not want them catching them unawares.
Wolves sniff out whites. He knows that wolves can sniff out whites.
At least warned ones can.
At least these two, and these aren't dire wolves. These are regular wolves. Wolves can sniff out whites.
He doubles patrols, and he wants every man given torch and flint, because he is aware that burning the dead is the only way to stop them. And Rattleshirt still wants Jon's bones, and Ygritte is like, yo, shut up. Fuck you. He killed Corrin, and we fuck all the time, and it's dope. And Mance is like, is that true? Is that the right of it?
Jon's like, yeah.
Jon goes on a pretty angsty but Ned Stark-inspired monologue. He doesn't know if he can tell honor from shame anymore or right from wrong. And he thinks, Father, forgive me. And he confirms it. Yeah, we fuck.
And he's like, oh.
Cool.
All right.
Well, then you two will go with Jarl and Styr tomorrow. Far be it from me to separate two hearts that beat as one. And Jon's like, where are we going? Over the wall! It is past time you proved your faith with more than just words, Jon Snow. And Styr is pissed. He's like, why would I want a crow? And Mance is like, because he lived at Castle Black. He knows how many people are there, who's there, what their defenses look like.
How the wall works. Like,
You'll find a use for him or you're a fucking fool.
I love that line.
Like, And Steer's like, but whatever. He relents, and he says his heart may still be black, and Mance says, then cut it out. And just done with that conversation, turns to fucking Rattleshirt and says, keep the column moving at all costs. We have to beat Mormont to the wall. It's a race. It's a race.
And if they do that, they win.
But I love how matter-of-fact he is. If Jon is still black at heart, cut it out. Like, be done with him. Like,
it doesn't. That's fine. Like bring him.
Yeah, I don't
use him. If he's not, then fucking kill him.
Yeah,
I don't care.
So they leave. Mance and a couple of the others, and Jon and Ygritte are left with the Jarl and Rattleshirt.
Yeah, who gets all up in Ygritte's face and is like talking some mad shit.
Well, Steer tells them that they ride at daybreak, and Jon, you need to get your face. You're a mess. And yeah, then Ygritte is like, you better not, or Rattleshirt's like, you better not be lying about this Jon Snow boy,
and
Ygritte.
Jon pulls his sword out and he's like, get the fuck away from us.
Dude, I love that Jon is just
get
so
away from
done.
us. And so that's good though, that's like that switch where he finally is going to, I'm going to embrace it then.
Yeah,
like,
get away from us.
Get the fuck, like, and that he realizes this is how free folk can do it.
And then just how, like, well, boom, boom, Jon draws longsword and Rattleshirt's like, you got no wolf here to help you,
drawing
boy.
His sword out.
And Ygritte is the one who notices Ghost and
Yeah.
laughs and, sure that are you? And sure enough, there's Ghost on the ring wall making no sound, but his eyes spoke blood. And Rattleshirt backs him, fucking stupid, fucking
goddamn wolf.
stupid crow, you fucking stupid wolf. And he leaves. And god damn it, Ghost, I love you. You're such a good boy.
Says the motherfucker who was just, oh, where were you, Ghost? Why weren't you here?
It wasn't a criticism. It was
Hater.
These wolves are so protective of the living humans that they have.
So defensive.
That why wasn't he there for Orell? Was he doing more important stuff? Because, like, what's that more important stuff?
That was more important stuff.
I don't know if it was more important. He could have been hunting.
Whatever Ghost does is more important stuff than what happens with Jon.
That's what I'm saying. If he needs to fill his belly, he can go fill his belly. I'm not saying he can't go eat. I'm just curious as to why he was just like, whatever, Jon's got this. Like,
although to play devil's advocate, he probably could have just eaten the eagle.
That's right. Like, it's just an interesting.
But again, how's he supposed to know the fucking eagle was coming? Anyway.
Because fucking America's always coming.
So, the three of them, meaning Jon, Ygritte, and Ghost, make their way down the little hill.
I never asked you to lie for me.
And she tells him, I didn't lie. I just left one little part out.
Like, you're leaving that dick out of me. Let's get it. And yeah, she says, I never said when we started fucking.
That happens right now. I mean, tonight.
Yeah, find another place for Ghosts to sleep, because I'm about to rock your world, Jon Snow. Like Mance said, deeds are truer than words.
Yeah, and so I wanted to mention, once again, like with Robb, like with Jaime.
Send the wolf away.
There's a woman who's about to rock a dude's fucking world to get him to change his...
Evil women. Evil, manipulative women. Fucking bitches, all of them. No.
Whoa!
Yeah. No, it's... I love Ygritte.
Yeah, dude, she...
Because to me, it's not her trying to get him. It's her trying to get him to fucking survive.
I think
she's aware that he's having this struggle. That it's the... Obviously, she's not like Corn. I don't think she's like Corn set him up or put him up to this. But I think she's like, he is... noble, and he's struggling to just straight up be like, nah, fuck those guys. And so she's trying to protect him, and to do so, they need to fuck. He needs to show that he's willing to break these vows.
Yeah.
It sucks, but like, I mean, it does it. It's sex, like, it's not that man. But like,
I had to break my vow.
Right. And so yeah, I really like that. It's more she's making him come out of his shell, and then going to be able to see the Wildlings as a people, not as this other entity he's now assimilating into. He'll become one of them, one of us. Gooble gobble, gooble gobble. Let's convene our small council.
Thank you for joining us.
Walter Cronkite.
Are you all right?
Yep.
All right, cool. So welcome to the Small Council with Walter Cronkite.
Nope, Zach.
Zach's back.
He
He got us.
got racked.
We don't actually have Walter Cronkite on a show.
No.
So, anyways.
You got an inductee?
Oh, right. Fuck.
Yeah, we got to give ours first before you start
I was about to
listeners.
start.
It's our show.
I'm so excited
Still
for theirs
our
this
fucking
week.
show. Fuck.
Whoa, dude.
You really have to think about an inductee.
Yeah, you go first.
Mine's Ghosty Boy.
Oh, well, you take the easy way out.
It's not the easy way out because I was questioning his motives this chapter episode. But no, the end. Like, are you kidding me? On the ring wall, like right where he needed to be when he needed to be there. Maybe that's it. Why? Like maybe he's like Spider-Man. You know, everybody gets one, and it's like that was Jon's one a day.
Yeah.
And so not wasted on the eagle. We're gonna waste it when it really matters. Yeah. You know. So like
at the cool moment.
That image is just so cool, especially. Because it does kind of like solidify these three as a unit.
Yeah,
where Ygritte's like,
not so sure about that.
Look over there. There's Ghost. And like, again, Ghost has no problem with Ygritte because she was the one like,
cuddling with him too,
cuddling, like protecting Jon and shit. So I think Ghost knows like, nah, Ygritte's going to help my boy out. Like, yeah. So Ghost, I think she's not going to go. Jon's not going to have to send him away because Ghost is going to be like, oh, they're heading back. Finally. All right. Jon's getting it. I'm going to go and kill some shit.
Nice.
So Ghosty.
All right.
I love Ghost.
I remembered mine.
Good.
Because I did have one.
Oh.
Long spear rake.
Yeah, you did say you were like obsessed with
him.
Yeah.
And so, because
no, I really liked him.
While
this chapter
he's not
too.
nearly as prominent as Tormund as this band of the guys.
No one's as fucking prominent as Tormund.
Very
Jesus
true.
Christ.
He was I think right after Tormund, he picked up the song.
Mm-hmm.
He also jumped down and drew his weapon on Rattleshirt when he was coming to take Jon.
Well, yeah, because he left him. Like, he left his company. Fuck this guy.
And so I just think it's super cool that he's got Jon's back. And again, how tight-knit these guys already are. And I like Long Spear.
Word.
So
we did get quite a few inductees from the listeners. From Karen on Jon, she says, LOL at Tormund's story about how he got the nickname Giant's Bane, plus him fucking the bear. The guy is a legend, in his own mind at least. Jon is such a sweet summer child, blushing at the very thought of Ygritte, and he has such notions of honor that if he has sex with her, he would have to marry her. I found it very interesting that in back-to-back chapters, we saw how Ned Stark's oldest son took his words and the way he lived his life to heart. Both clearly have the mindset that sex equals marriage, with Robb marrying Jane, and Jon is so ashamed about his feelings for Ygritte, and I think if he wasn't a member of the Night's Watch, he would have married her. Both choices lead to heartache and death. This quote from Jon could have come from Ned himself. The free folk have no laws, no honor, not even simple decency. They steal endlessly from each other, breed like beasts, prefer rape to marriage, and fill the world with base-born children. So for an inductee, at first I wanted to give Tormund, because he is the best. Or to Ygritte, for basically making Jon sleep with her just by being clever. But in the end, I've got to give it to Eddard Stark. His presence has hung heavily over the past 2 chapters. It's clear all of his children respect him and take his lessons to heart. I love that inductee.
Yeah, super cool.
Thanks, Karen, because, Ned Stark, I mean, he's a character for 3/4 of the first book, but still
3 books in
is still fucking prevalent in everything.
In Kat's chapters, for both Kat and Robb, Jon is, and the similarities are just crazy. But it's definitely cool to see how much these two really took to heart. But again, by following in his footsteps, they're heading down the same path. I think things begin to change with Jon as he accepts the Wildlings as people and starts realizing that, like, man, honor is one thing, but, like, some of y'all's rules is whack as shit.
Well, that's it. It's argued that what Jon is doing by A Dance of Dragons is the honorable thing, is saving these people. And
right, it's the truly honorable thing.
And so, it's what is honor, and in this society, it's pretty fucked up.
So, Ned's a great one.
Ned's a great one.
So, we also did, of course, get an inductee from our favorite French fry in France, Julian. Julian says, hello, guys. That was an early morning, couldn't get back to sleep reading sesh. Enjoyable one, so let's be efficient here. I like Ygritte. I like Tormund, of course. I heart Ghost, and fuck the Lord of Bones. Wow, giants. Wower, mammoths. Fucking emoji, surprise face, wowist, Mance. I would have killed Jon without a single doubt if I were him. Yeah,
I'm surprised Jon survived.
I definitely feel like part of it is because of the he does see a lot of himself in him, in that...
I think Mance is similar to Ygritte in that he knows it's difficult to just suddenly be like, no, fuck these guys.
And so, similar to how when Corrin picked him for his little squad, he sees something that could be useful here, and he doesn't choose wrong, obviously. Sorry. Anyway, and my inductee is Varamir. His name sounds like Faramir from The Lord of the Rings, a character I like very much. Plus, I can't picture him anything but absolutely epic. At first, I believed the wolves and Shadowcat were only following him around from afar, but no, he's got use of them. And Jesus Christ, a white bear, wowistist. Fuck yeah. Thank you guys, and have a good day. Varamir Dohaeris. That's a good one. I like that, Valar Dohaeris.
I really wish...
I also like that inductee, a fucking
yeah, absolutely.
Which is why I spoiled it for you.
I really wish I could get into Lord of the Rings, but it's just not my cup of tea, man.
No, I liked Faramir's character in The Lord of the Rings, so that's cool. I really just like the idea of Varamir, even with someone that's as fresh to the series as you are, Julian, how powerful of an impact he has in those moments, hearing about who he is and what he's capable of. He just gets fucking cooler the more we learn about him and the Wildlings as a whole. And so once we get to learn the Wildlings, once we finally get his little point of view chapter, it just puts into perspective a whole lot of shit that we'd been looking over for the last 4 books.
Whoopsie.
So, awesome inductee. Next
one. Next.
Not... Jesus, do you know what?
Fuck off. We got a raven from the Dreadfort. That's from Corey. That says, "Hey guys, I do apologize in advance. My thoughts are all over the map in this chapter." That's okay.
We were all over the map.
I mean, Nate's always a fucking mess.
True story.
Good old Tormund taking Jon under his wings and showing him the ropes. In the south, must a man wed every girl he beds? Love how Martin is able to troll Robb from thousands of leagues away. Wow, Ghost really dropped the ball against the Eagle. He needs to take a lesson from Summer.
Wow, calling people out.
If Varamir Sixskins and his entourage were hunting me down, I would rather climb the wall and face the crows. Agreed. 100%. Are you kidding me? He's got a fucking snow bear, a Shadowcat, and wolves.
I'm a terrible rock climber, so just eat me.
Nah.
Just fucking eat me, bear.
I wanted to induct Tormund, but the whole interspecies erotica moment, I'll pass on him for this week. My inductee is Mance. It was a night and day meeting with Jon. In Jon 1, Mance was a cheerful king, but in this chapter, he cranked up the heat and wasn't having any of Jon's bullshit. Cheers. Corey from the Dreadfort.
Hey! Thanks, Corey. Another good one. I'm glad somebody got Mance in this week because he said it there. It was completely different, and getting to see the 2 different sides in back-to-back, like Jon chat, like from Jon 1 to Jon 2, he went from this warm, welcoming, friendly king to this menacing, imposing, calculated king.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool to see the 2 sides of the coin.
Well, you can see how this man could hammer these tribes together.
Right.
He has that coldness to him.
The capability and the threat with the weapon.
Right.
It's not empty. He could fucking come.
Oh, yeah.
He could
fucking... If you draw that long sword, your bastard sword, even 1 inch out of that sheath, I will fucking cut your bastard head from its fucking shoulders, and he could do it.
Yeah, that's...
Even now, I could cut through the 5 of you like carving a cake.
Right.
We also, not related to this chapter, but I did just want to shout it out, we got an email from Sid.
Yeah, it might be a long time before he...
That's okay.
This, but...
He was reading the Theon chapter, and he titled the email Theon versus Winterfell. Listening to Theon 4... I find your hate amusing, and agree with it. Good. However, it just struck me listening to you guys, not killing the direwolves when he takes over Winterfell seems odd. Even if Theon himself didn't think of it, someone in his contingent should have. I think this is out of character, and this is George R.R. Martin taking the easy route out for continuity's sake, i.e. the direwolves need to be alive for the rest of the story. I thought I would share this with you guys. Hope you're both doing well. Happy election day, Sid. Thank you, Sid.
So, real quick.
Great point.
Yeah, it was a great election.
Yes.
We're so close to being saved.
We're almost there. Almost there. Yeah, the election went great. Thank you so much. But great point. I think.
So, here's my argument against that. Why they potentially, and I can see already a bunch of arguments against my statement here, but the wolves as well as the people there are residents of the place. Who's gonna get close? And I get there's crossbows and shit like that. Who's gonna be able to do that? Without that wolf fucking... Where in this castle are you going to shoot that fucking wolf without it getting to you before you can get an arrow off? And how good are you of an archer that you can kill that with one arrow? Because that's what you're going to fucking get.
Yeah, that's valid.
And so otherwise, when they're locked up in the Godswood. That's not... They're free to fucking...
roam,
go in there with your sword and kill that wolf. Go for it.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah,
Try
that's
it.
like a
so that's
bard's
the only
tale.
Right, that's the only thing I can really think is that it's just a very difficult task to accomplish.
Yeah, that's a
They're
good
not
point.
small monsters and small monsters. They're not small dire wolves.
Real monsters.
But they're big set beasts.
Yeah, they're fucking
so
scary.
That would be my justification, but I do see, we'll stand at the gate, make Bran call for it, but that just wouldn't necessarily work.
I mean, I also think it's Theon's trepidation to go through.
It's 100%
with it.
that I think is the actual reason is they're there following Theon. They don't actually want to be there at all.
Yeah.
So when he decides to keep the children, I think they should, like his sister said, slaughtered everything and then left with the two kids, which absolutely would have meant the wolves. Since they didn't do any of that, why would they be smart enough to fucking kill the wolves?
Right.
So there's a
yeah.
lot of things there.
Yeah, it's
one of those what ifs. It's fun to discuss and think about.
But thank you for the email, Sid. We always
appreciate
it.
to hear that you're still listening.
If you would like to write us in as Sid, Karen, Corey, Julian.
And anybody we missed on YouTube. Guys, YouTube's fucking killing it.
YouTube.
Hundreds of views. Like, what? So, all of you over there, we love you. Thank you for listening. You can just search Brotherhood Without Manners on YouTube, and you come right up. You can also send us an email, withoutmannersbrotherhood@gmail.com. I'm on we're on Facebook, both of us. Facebook.com/Brotherhood Podcast. We have a Twitter or two. Nate's on Twitter. At Manners Without. Zach is on Twitter at Carstark92. We also have our Patreon, patreon.com/Without Manners. What am I missing here? Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Breaker, Spotify. Spotify kills it too, yo.
Yeah.
And so, we've got listeners. You guys are, I think it was the Netherlands is way up there. We got a lot of that. Yo, what up, Netherlands?
What up,
so,
Netherlands?
Everybody that listens, thank you. Write in, get us your inductees. Who's next is Arya.
Next is Sansa.
Due
to being sick, our recording schedule got kind of fucked up, as you obviously noticed. So we're going to be throwing Sansa at you early this week. We're going to be busting that out.
And then still getting you the normal...
And then getting you our normal episode on Friday.
Which will be Arya.
So expect Sansa... if not tomorrow, if not the day following this episode, then before Arya on Friday, and Arya on Friday as well. So get us inductees. Most of you have already, but if you haven't, send us inductees for Sansa 2 and Arya 3.
Arya 3, yeah.
And we will catch you on the next one.
Valor to Harris. Peace.